So for the last couple months, I've kind of been neglecting and haven't cleaned my room thoroughly. And there's been a lot of dust and trash stacking up throughout my room. And I'm a type of person that cannot work in a non-clean environment, so it's really been bugging me. And I've really been looking for a change. So in this video, we're going to be transforming it into my dream room. So without further ado, let's get into the transformation. So one of the biggest things that's been bothering me about my room is the fact that there's orange stripes in the room and my color scheme is kind of like light blue. And this wall has not been repainted since I moved into this room. It's been like 8 years or something, so it was definitely time for a change. So the first thing I wanted to do was to clean the wall and then put some tape on it so we could repaint these lines into a color that's more of my style. I ended up going with this kind of light gray blue color-ish, and it went really well with the room aesthetic that I was going for. And even though it doesn't look like a huge change, it definitely made a big difference. And once we finished painting, we had to let it dry, and the only thing in my room left that was orange were these letters, which are my initials. And I did like where they were in the room, and I didn't want to get rid of them. And instead of buying brand new letters, I just ended up painting them black because I wanted more of a clean aesthetic in my room. And the bright orange just kind of gave the room a little too much pop, so I felt like neutral colors were definitely the way to go. And while waiting for all that paint to finish up drying, I went ahead and took out the trash and all the boxes that were just sitting around in my room, which instantly made it a lot cleaner. After all the trash was out, I noticed these shelves got really dirty and kind of dusty over the last couple months, so I went ahead and took everything off and started vacuuming and wiping them down. And it's crazy how much dust can pile up over a short period of time. And once we finished that, all of the paint on the wall was pretty much dry. So we went ahead and took the tape off, and it already looked so much better. And then I went ahead and put all my shoes back on the shelves, because you know we're keeping those. Once the wall was done, I was finally ready to remake my bed. And I changed my sheets pretty frequently, but I've gotten lazy recently, so I made sure to put a clean pair of sheets on, because going to sleep with clean sheets is honestly the best feeling. And now that the bed was all finished, I wanted to start adding some things to the walls. So I threw the same juice flag up because I love the aesthetic. And then I started putting some of the hexagon panels that I have behind my setup on the open spaces in the wall, because I didn't want to put anything too flashy in these areas. And these panels really just added some small details that were needed. And I could have got different shapes, but I kind of liked the hexagon theme throughout the room. And you guys will see a little more of what I mean later on in the video. And once all of the walls were pretty much finished, I went ahead and got to work on probably the most important part of the room, which was my setup. And I'm usually pretty good about cleaning my setup as well, but like I said, I got a little lazy and I haven't really cleaned it in a while, so it got pretty dusty. And even just wiping it down can make such a big difference. And one of the biggest issues I've been having recently was with my microphone. And I've had this old microphone I've been using for over 3 years now, and it was definitely due for an upgrade. And this awesome brand named Mono sent me out this brand new microphone to showcase in my setup, and the quality was actually insane. With only 3 parts, it was super easy to set up, and not only did it have custom color LEDs, but its sleek and modern design made it look so clean with the setup. And obviously, sound is the most important thing. And if you were wondering what it sounded like, you've been listening to it the entire video. So if you guys are looking for a really price-friendly microphone, make sure you click the first link in the description. And I also noticed that I had the same mouse pad for a couple years now, and it was definitely time for a change. So I ordered a new mouse pad, and I think it went really well with the setup. And I've had the same chair for a while as well, and I wanted more of a basic design, so I went with a straight black one, which looked a lot better. And then I just went ahead and added all of my stuff back onto my desk, which was really just a bunch of G Fuel tubs. And I noticed my cable management was really bad, so I finally took care of it. And fast forward about a day, the letters were finally dried up, so I went ahead and added them back to the wall. And then I went to the other side and started one of the bigger changes in the room. And this change was definitely essential for me because this wall just looked so chaotic and thrown together. And after looking online, I saw some of these hexagon lights and they instantly caught my eye. And with the ongoing hexagon theme throughout my room, they were the perfect choice. And I've been really looking for a big kind of statement piece for my room, and this definitely filled those shoes perfectly, especially with the modern and RGB kind of aesthetic throughout my room. And the really only big part of my room I had left were the shelves that I cleaned earlier in the video, and it was kind of delayed because I was waiting for packages to get in. And I've always liked the idea of having some of my favorite albums on the wall, so I ordered some of these blank white canvases, And then got some of my favorite albums. And I could have got a frame, but I wanted to change it up a little bit from other creators. So I ended up gluing the album covers onto the canvases. I honestly wasn't too sure about how this would turn out, but I did think the white border from the canvases would make them pop. So after a lot of kind of just holding them down and getting them set, I laid them out and put some pressure on them so they could dry. And then after about a day of them drying, they came out a lot better than I expected. And since it was a couple days after I first cleaned them, I went ahead and re-dusted them off. And I went for a different kind of aesthetic, putting some fake plants up there, but still keeping some of my awards because they are accomplishments. And overall, the shelves were just so much less cluttery. It looks so much cleaner overall. And for the final part of the upgrade, I've kind of always been looking to put a whiteboard in my room. And really just something I could use to push myself harder, to write down things like goals, and just things to keep me in check and focused on what's important. And there was a pretty big blank spot under this shelf, and it was at the perfect height, so I went ahead and measured and then mounted it onto the wall. And I've always liked the look of kind of lights that just highlight areas of the room. And I noticed that wall was a little darker because I didn't have LEDs on that side of the roof. And instead of just mounting more LEDs, I kind of wanted a more natural light. And I went ahead and bought these puck lights that I mounted on the bottom of the shelves. And not only did it make it pop, but it also gave the wall a lot more depth and detail. And at the same time, it just changed the aesthetic of my room. And after putting them all up, the room was finally finished.